welcome to Flathead High School. And not a better place to be to give this man his award tonight. And you know, I found out I was doing the MC thing, and somebody goes, hey, you know, you should get some stories of Bill. And so I asked people, and I said, hey, send me a note about it or something. And I ended up with this big binder. And I didn't bring it with me. But I know some people are going to tell some stories tonight. And, you know, what a better place for me to see this man today. My first memory of this gym is with him at a basketball camp. And him running it, I think, the year he got back here in '79. So what a great tribute for me to be able to be up here. I am Bryce Wilson. I'm the Activities Director of Flathead High School. And tonight we are going to pay tribute to Bill as he gets this National High School Athletic Coaches Association Award, the Hall of Fame Award. And as we get to that, we're going to go through his accomplishments. And you know, back in '79, Bill, I thought, wow, he's been doing this a while. And here I find out you were doing it for 20 years then, and then you still have been coaching for us, and I came back, became the activities director, and then I got to be your boss. And I think the first words he said, it put me right back to when I was 18, when he goes, Wilts, it's good to see you at the track. So he is a coach's coach, well-deserved honor, and we're going to now bring back up here the person that hired Bill, I believe, in 1979, Ken Siderius.
You know, other than relatives in here, I think I've known Bill and Kay longer than any of you. The first time I saw this man, and if you're at a basketball game, and if you see that man, I'll guarantee you, you're going to see his wife, especially if you're the referee. Bill and Kay were at Forsyth, and I was teaching and coaching in Miles City, and we did some officiating down there. So they were playing circle, and Bill had a good team. They were, if you talk to Kay, they were even better. And Circle had a good team. I refereed the game. Well, before I went in there, I knew the principal at Forsyth, and he said, you know, you're going to get an exam tonight, and I had no idea what I was talking about. So I go out there, and I referee the game, and I thought I did a good job, and Bill come over. He got beat by 1 point, and he told me I did a good job. And I was looking around where this exam was coming from. Pretty soon this lady comes strolling out of the stands. And she was upset, and she says, and I got my exam, I found out I was blind. And not only that, she says, you're blind as a bat. But I love Kay Epperly. She worked for me for a long time. This man was at Flathead when I came here in 1969. He'd been here since 65, I believe. And then he left. And then we needed a coach, and he'd gone on his way. And I was the personnel director at that time when we needed a basketball coach. And Bill Boat was the principal here. and we had lots of ideas about who should be the coach. Bill Boat came and talked to me and said, I want Bill Epperly. And I said to Bill Boat, I want Bill Epperly. And we hired him back, and what a guy he's been. In 1993, he retired from the high school here. And you know, he's getting an award here tonight, but in the paper, all the things that he's getting an award for, he got paid for. He's already been paid for that. But you know what people don't realize? Bill Epperly has touched the lives of many, many people. From 93 to the present, there's young people here sitting here. I don't care whether you were in Big Fork or Missoula or Whitefish or Columbia Falls or Kalispell, and somebody wanted to help their kid. There's a guy. There's a guy. That's why he should get this. He has helped anyone that wants help. The only time he needs any help is when Jeff has to get his golf game straightened out. And his wife has been behind him forever and ever. And it's a real pleasure for me to say, if anyone needs this reward, it's Bill Epperly. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. What a great tribute. And now we're going to spend a little time walking through the timeline of exactly what he's done. And here's Julie Epperly to do that.
I have spent a lot of time in this gym and with Bill, following him around everywhere. I'm going to give you the timeline. There's a lot of stuff going on. You're going to hear a lot of people speak from some of these time eras that Bill has spent a lot of time coaching and whatnot. So he started coaching in 1959 at Bozeman Rosary High School with his brother-in-law, Neil Christensen. Went to Forsyth in 63 to 66. Flathead from 66 to 71. He was at Fergus in Lewistown from 71 to 76. He was at Montana Tech from 76 to 79, and he was an athletic director as well. He came back to Flathead in 79 to 93. Then he went to Big Fork and coached from 2001 to 2007 in the boys program with Jimmy and also the girls program. Then he went to Big Fork Middle School and coached in 2008 through 2010, and then back in 2013 to 2014. And then he's been coaching track up until this last year. As an assistant, he won team championships in 1970. Basketball, the Northwestern A Conference in 2006 and 2007 with Big Fork. Football, 1970. And the track and field, which was all state AA, 1988. 89, 91, 92, 93, 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2005, and 2015. Wow. As a head coach, he won 1982. Brother Jimmy was a senior that year, and he got to they played Hellgate High School, where I teach, and Eric Hayes, who is here tonight, was the coach he was coaching against. 1989, they also won state. I come up a couple of times a week to stay with Mom and Dad, and a week ago, last Friday, or maybe it was a couple weeks, I can't remember, Mark Gilman, Dana Hashley, and Jason Sandu showed up at the house. And they talked for over an hour about that championship. There was a lot of laughing going on. It was great to hear. And he remembered everything. Bill remembered everything. So if you ask him any time from 1959 to nowadays, he will remember exact stats. It's hilarious. It exhausted me just listening to him. He also, with the Western Conference AA, they won in 81, 83, 86, and then the Western AA Divisional, which we haven't had divisionals for a long time, but he won in 1986 as well. He got Coach of the Year award in 1982 and 1989. He was inducted into the Montana Coaches Association Hall of Fame in 1990. He was nominated for the National High School Coach of the Year in 93, and then he was inducted into the Kalispell Legends Wall of Fame in 2005. So the list is long. He has coached many, many, many kids, and us kids, his own kids. We got to not be only coached at home, as well as, on the field. Although I only had him for track, and I cussed at him an awful lot, let me tell you. But we were pretty good, so. Anyway, you're going to be hearing from several people from these different time eras, and so enjoy the stories, and a lot of you will just get some good chuckles out of it. So thank you once again for coming. My family totally, totally appreciates it.
With his legacy, I have to say, he coached me as a basketball player, and one of the things, I coached for 14 years as a varsity basketball coach. And it's not only those people that he coached directly, but I can't tell you how many drills I ran that you taught me, and it taught me basketball that I'll never forget. And it was such a wonderful thing to be able to show that with kids all through the years. So it's not even just the legacy of what he's done, it's also the legacy of kids that he's touched and kids past that. So thank you, Bill. And now we've got Jimmy Epperly coming up to tell a little bit more about Bill.
Man, it's nice to see everybody here. It's like who's who of old coaches and educators. I'm here representing the Fork for sure. I moved back to Big Fork in 2001, took over the boys program, and jumped into all kinds of coaching duties there. And like a good dad, Bill wanted to make sure that he was there for me. And he hung around long enough, we put him to work. So it was unbelievable after Bill retired in '93, Flathead, how much coaching he did after he retired. In Big Fork, I kind of sucked him into helping me. I was in need of some basketball coaches, and he helped me for a couple years. And then he moved on to the girls program when my niece Hattie was playing there. And I'm sure most of you guys know who Nate Hammond is, but he was a young budding coach, and Bill took him under his wing, and he's done pretty good at Malta the last few years, if you guys know anything about basketball. But he was Nate's assistant for a few years, and then he started eyeing up his grandkids, and he started getting into youth basketball and youth sports because of his grandkids. And when he did that, he absolutely hit the turbo button with coaching. So he coached 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade when Evan was in middle school. He'll talk a little bit about that later. And we went 60-0 with Evan and his crew. And when he coached Anders' crew, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade, they went 60-0. And really, it's not about the wins. And I see a lot of Big Fork people here tonight. It is about teaching those kids not only skill set and basketball IQ, but how to be good kids, how to be good people. And that's why they love Bill so much. He touched so many people down there over the years coaching, and I see a lot of them here tonight, which warms my heart. But he really just went nuts with his coaching. It was like, man, you got to slow down. Out of control. I remember, I think it was Evan's 7th grade year. I wasn't with them, they were down in Charlotte, and I go, hey, how'd the game go down there? Papa got teed up. He got teed up in the 7th grade game. The ref was about 12 years old. But they won. I go, that's a tough place to play down there in Charlotte, isn't it? Yeah. But he was just so passionate, even in his 60s and 70s, so passionate and so giving and so loving. And that's what makes him a Hall of Fame coach, is his heart and his desire to not only teach the skill set, but, like I said, to teach people how to be good people, how to look people in the eye, how to work hard, how to be a good teammate. All those things that you hope that your coaches would teach your children out there. That's what he did. And we all knew he was a Hall of Famer. And our kids were so blessed down there in the Fork to have that. And they cherished that, and that's why a lot of them are here tonight honoring Bill. So that's pretty much the Big Fork years. We did do a lot of travel ball also in that time zone. And I'm sure everybody's familiar with travel ball, but I'm sure Bill sat through 500 games after he retired of travel ball, all over the West, sitting in every gym imaginable, coaching 6 to 7 games a weekend for weeks on end. And they won a lot of games. Like I said, they very rarely lost. But man, those kids developed, and a lot of them became all-state players and went on to play in college. I think off of Evan's team, they had 5 All-State or 6 All-State kids off of that team. And Anders made All-State this year, and there's going to be a few more out of that crew. And they're good kids. And it's because Papa invested that time in those kids, invested his heart and soul in them. And so that's pretty much all I got to say about the Big Fork years. Thank you for coming. Make sure that you get down and say hi to my mom and Papa tonight after this ceremony. Hopefully it won't go too long. But it's really nice to see everybody. And again, thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy. And now we have a poem that was written by Pat Hodge that I'd like to have her come up and read to everyone.
Of course, the title is Bill Epperly. A smile, always. A frown, rarely. A positive attitude, for sure. Bill Epperly is his name, and other people are his game. He taught and he coached. He was good, they exclaimed. From football to hoops to track, that's right. He gave of himself from morning till night. He worked and he worked for the betterment of kids, and was often rewarded by the things that they did. The kids, they do love him. Oh yes, they do. They worked to get better as their confidence grew. Whether offense or defense or high jump or such, it's impossible to name all the people he's touched. He's encouraged and supported many people through the years. And now it's time for us all to say congratulations and cheers, Coach Epperly.
Thank you, Pat. So we now have one guy. I think that you only need one word to have our next speaker introduction for him, and that's Freddie. Come on up.
Thanks, Bryce. I'd just like to say, Jimmy, when I first started coaching here, I was on that 1979, Jimmy was a sophomore, and what a great kid. He came in and came from Butte. And I just want to say, Jimmy, I learned a lot more from you than you learned from me. You know, Ep, I'd like to say I was his long-time assistant, but with his career, I guess, you know, I was here from 1979 to 1993 with him, but with his longevity, I guess I was his short-time assistant. But my responsibility with Ep, my first years, I was the sophomore coach, and that was pretty easy. You know, my responsibility was to get the kids ready to play for Ep and Tracy. Tracy coached the JVs. Tom Gilman were the varsity coaches, and that was my duty to get them ready to play. And I thought that went fairly well. Well, Tracy and Tom retired, and then Ep asked me to be the assistant coach, and that's where kind of the fun started, I guess. But anyway, I think one of the first things I learned was that I had to help Ep from getting technical fouls. He was kind of quick off the bench. So with the help of Jim Smithwick Hand, you know, we talked a little bit, and he said, well, you know, maybe you can get out there a little bit quicker and get between him and the referees. So when Ep was getting off the bench, I'd try to jump out, get in front of him. I'd be out in front of Ep, and I'd be doing a little flying. Ep would be trying to go one way, the referee would be going the other way. And I think I might have helped out a little bit. And then I remember one time, Jimmy Hand give me a little push to get out there, and I looked over my shoulder and I thought, what the heck's he doing that for? He's bigger than me, he should be out there. But the other thing I remember too is that sometimes we'd be in a situation where Ep would call a timeout, and I'd go over the official and I'd say to him, hey, Ep didn't really mean that. He told me to tell you he was sorry, but that was, I could only use that one time with each official, so it became kind of a hard chore. But the thing that I remember, and everybody knows Ep, and everybody touched on it, but he had a great work ethic. He never expected things to get done. He got it done. And I can remember many times throughout the years, you know, all the basketball I learned from him, but many times throughout the years where he took the extra effort to do things. He really improved the program here at Flathead High School. He started camps. Anything he could do. We had Rotary basketball here, and he would take the team down and demonstrate fundamental drills and things like that. He was great with coaches' clinics. We went on coaches' trips, did a lot of extra things, and he stayed ahead of the game. And I think one thing in particular that I appreciated about Coach Ep was that he was humble about it. You know, he never said, hey, stood up and said, hey, this is what I'm doing. He just did it. And, you know, that's a great quality. I think if he could share the award with anybody, it would be with Kay. And I think just like Bill, Kay had a great work ethic. I remember several times when we'd go over to her house. One time I went over there and I said, Kay, you know, you got the meal ready for the whole team. How'd you do this? I said, you must have been busy all day. She says, yeah, I was busy all day. I worked all day. I said, you worked all day? And then I thought, well, it doesn't look like a caterer is here. How did this get done? She said, well, I was up all last night. She said, I made the lasagnas, put them in the refrigerator, made the cookie dough, put it in there, and then went to work all day, came back, put the stuff in the oven, tossed the salad, made the bread, and we're ready to go. And so she had a great work ethic. She also talked about the Eat the Win diet. That was her big thing. She got the kids involved with the Eat the Win diet, and that was kind of hard. I learned to negotiate through Kay Epperly. Say, okay, we got the Eat the Win diet here. You know what I want you to do? I want you to order a meal. He'd always say, I want the chicken breast, nice sized chicken breast. I want the baked potato for carbohydrates, the chicken breast is for protein. Then we want a side vegetable, a large drink. And he said, our budget is $5 on that. The only thing he didn't tell me was good luck. But I think that whole work ethic that Kay and Bill have is extended, throughout their family. I know Jimmy coaches 3 sports in Big Fork. Julie's a teacher and a coach at Hellgate. Joni's a teacher, and Jeff is working in basketball. So it's a very contagious thing. And I know myself, sometimes when I feel like I'm getting a little lazy, I kind of think of what Coach Bill Epperly has done, and he's done a great deal. And they've talked about his longevity, and I think that that in itself is a testament to Bill. One thing I think that is important to remember is kind of what Jimmy said. He coached long after he finished coaching high school kids. And like Ken talked about too, he didn't get the extra payment for it, he just did it. And so I'd like to just read something here, and I think it's pretty appropriate to Bill Epperly. It says, it's a quote from Teddy Roosevelt, and it says, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man that is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust, sweat, and blood, who strives valiantly." And I think that's a pretty good description of Coach Epperly. He was always in the arena, and I appreciate the time I spent with you. I was only a short time in the arena with you, the gambit of things, but I appreciate you, I appreciate Kay, I appreciate the whole family.
Thanks, Freddie, and thanks for not throwing the clipboard like you did when I was a sophomore. Now we have somebody from the next generation that Bill coached, and that's going to be his grandson, Evan Epperly.
So from all the people that have talked tonight, my perspective's a lot different. One, because I'm Papa's grandson, and two, because I played for him when I was in 6th grade. I don't think there's a whole lot of people out there that can say they got to play for a Hall of Fame coach as a sixth grader, or even ever. So my teammates and I were very fortunate to have his guidance and his knowledge in teaching us the game of basketball. And as shown from what we did in high school, I think a lot of the development of the players that played for him can be credited to Bill. 5 of us off that team went on to win a state championship in basketball. 4 of us would go on to be All-State. And every single player off our travel ball team went on to either start for Glacier, Flathead, Big Fork, or Columbia Falls. And if you sit back and think about that's pretty amazing. And I think if you ask the guys that played for him, they would give a lot of credit to Bill in our development as players. And I also think if you asked them, they would all say they absolutely loved playing for Bill. Bill has always been my grandpa first, my coach second, so I might be a little biased, but I too can say that I loved playing for Bill, and I admire him greatly as a coach. The things that I admire about Bill are his competitive spirit, his passion for the game of basketball, and the way he treated people overall, and most of all his players. His competitive spirit is also shown in the way he talks to the refs, as have been said already, and there's been a lot of ref jokes, and I'm just going to go ahead and pile on. Jimmy said he got a technical at Charlo, but in all reality, he was getting tossed out of 8th grade basketball games. I think one in Whitefish might have been in the first quarter, which might be the fastest time a coach has ever been tossed. And I remember every time we get tossed, Tracy Moon, our 7th grade coach, would have to come out of the stands and finish the rest of the game. It was like the scene from Hoosiers where Gene Hackman is always getting tossed out and going, "You're not shooter, you gotta go finish the game." That's what that reminded me of. And he was just as passionate as a fan, especially when he's watching his grandkids. I remember my junior year, we were playing up at Big Sky, and it happened to be Bill's birthday. And he must have decided that he didn't want to spend his birthday watching me play. So he went ahead and got tossed out for calling the ref a baldy. That's right, a baldy. Which, looking back at it, the ref might have been a little sensitive and overreacted. But I'll never forget Bill walking out with my grandma, both 70-some years old, being escorted out by the AD at Big Sky, and the whole crowd cheering him on. But yeah, his competitive spirit certainly rubbed off on me, and a lot of other people have been around him a lot. I know if you ever get to see my Uncle Jeff or my dad Jimmy coach, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. But secondly, I'd like to recognize Bill's relationships that he's developed with his players. It doesn't matter if you've known Bill for 5 minutes or 50 years, he treats everybody the same way. And that goes a long way in building player-coach relationships. But it doesn't matter if he was on or off the court, he treated everybody like that. And if someone were to learn how to treat people in general, Bill Epperly would be the guy to learn from. So in closing, I'd like to share my favorite Bill Epperly quote ever. My teammates and I probably heard this quote over 100 times, and it never got old. He would often say to us, "Mother once told me, if you put the ball in the hoop more times than the other team, you're going to win the game." And that's true. That's a fact. If you score more points, you're going to win. So Bill, I'd like to say to you, the admiration and respect that the community and state has for you is amazing. The qualities that you possess are qualities that every human should strive to have. Thank you for all you've done for me. I love you, and congrats on your induction.
Well done. Thank you, Evan. Well, the next speaker we have is someone that I've known since that same basketball camp in 1979. At least I think he was there, because we ended up playing on a basketball team that same year. So, Grady Bennett, why don't you come on up here?
Well, first of all, I'm beyond honored to be speaking here tonight. I've gotten a chance to speak at a lot of different events, been involved with a lot of different things, and I don't know that I've ever felt so honored as I was when Jeff called me the other night and asked me to speak. This is a Hall of Fame audience tonight, a who's who of Flathead greatness. My perspective, and Evan, great job. Man, I have to follow that. But my perspective is somewhat like Evan's, but I look at my life and I am a product of this Hall of Fame coach. I'm only 49 and I've coached for 26 years now. And I think every year that goes by, the longer that I'm in it, I'm more reflective, looking back and just being so thankful for those that have influenced me and have made me who I am today. And I would say that I am who I am today because, number one, my relationship with God, my faith. Number two, my great parents. My mom is here tonight. I love you, Mom. And then number three, I would tell anybody that asked, I am who I am today because of my three head high school coaches. Bob Wraith in football, Bill Epperly in basketball, and Dan Hodge in track. I went to college to study business because I had Coach Hodge and Coach Epps for so many business classes. I think I took all of them. But he had so much passion for business that's what I wanted to go study. And then 3 years in, I loved it, but I was coming back every summer and I was coaching football camps with Coach Wraith and basketball camps with Coach Epps. And I loved it because of his passion, and I fell in love with that. So I changed and went into business education, teaching and coaching. And so I'm going to recap the 80s tonight a little bit. Jeff asked me to do that. What a special era from 79 to 91 and all that Coach accomplished during that era. And I was so blessed to be a part of that. So it all started for me. I was a middle schooler sitting up right up there in that section, watching in 79 when Jeff and John Zeck and that team, and I thought everything got started. And then, of course, in 1982, when Jimmy and Scotty Zen and Doug and those guys won the championship, and I didn't actually realize until tonight talking to Coach Hayes, but Hellgate beat you guys 3 times, and then you got them in the state championship. Well, now fast forward to 86. I think my team in 86, I look at that team and I really believe that's when everybody knew what a great coach Coach Epperly was, truly. We did not have the most talent compared to many other Braves teams. I don't even know where we'd rank as far as talent. We didn't have a superstar. I'm not sure if there's one player on that team that would even crack the top 15, whatever, in Brave history. But I think that team still has the best record ever at Flathead High School, and set some pretty cool records that year. We averaged 72 points a game. That was right after he met with Paul Westfall and kind of got that fast break style, and we started playing it. So we averaged 72 points a game that year, and that was without a three-pointer. And we also, all 5 starters in that team averaged in double figures. And so we get to the state tournament, and Big Sky had played for the state championship the year before and had lost, but they had everybody back. So pretty much all year it was us and Big Sky 1 and 2. And because of the brackets, we meet them in the semifinals. And it's actually a pretty cool thing because just a few years ago, Coach Epps and I were chatting and reminiscing and talking about highlights from his career. And he mentioned that game, that semifinal game that night against Big Sky, might be his favorite game, one of his top games of all time. You know, sometimes as coaches, you have those games that they just stand out because it's competitive, it's well played. Just everything about that game makes it one of the highlights. Well, a hidden story in that game was the fact that I got a technical in warm-ups for dunking. And, you know, I was one of those kids, hopefully anyways, that, you know, I showed up every day to work hard. I don't remember Coach Epps ever really having to get after me. And obviously he coached me and challenged me, but I don't think he ever really got mad at me or had to get after me. But man, he was so mad when I got a technical that night before the biggest game of our lives. And Coach, I don't know if I've ever really apologized to you, but I'm sorry. Man, I felt so bad. Well, their guy goes to the line and he misses both. So we don't start down 2-0. And we win the game 68-66. But Coach gave me that tape and I got to watch it. I watched it with my daughter. Now she had a hard time getting over the short shorts and the tight shorts. But even looking back, because I hadn't, you know, gone back that far, but it was an amazing basketball game and it was fun to reminisce on that. But then, you know, the next night, I hate to say this, but the same thing happened to us as happened to in his favor in 1982, but we had beaten Sentinel 3 times that year by 23, 17, and 12. And we just picked a bad night to have an off-shooting night, played a poor game, and ended up, I still feel bad for Coach, because he should have had his 3rd title for sure. I mean, life goes on, but I'll never get over that one. So, Coach, sorry again. But then in '89, they flipped the tables, and Butte had beaten them 3 times during the year, and I won a lot of money, because I bet everybody, knowing these historical facts now, I bet everybody that the Braves were going to get it done in 1989, when Ashley and Savick and Gilman and Pine and the boys, and sure enough, they did. And then Coach followed it up with that 2nd place in 1991. What a great run. 4 state championship games in that time period, and again, I was so blessed to be a part of that, and to be a product of Coach Epperly. So, as I kind of wrap up tonight, when Coach Wraith went to the East Coast 2 years ago as a finalist for the National Assistant Coach Hall of Fame, he called me and wanted to sit down and talk about top qualities of a coach, which led to just a fantastic discussion about just what are the top qualities of a coach. We had a great discussion that day, and Coach, I was still so honored that you called me and wanted to chat with me. But kind of like Evan did, there's so many things that could describe Bill Epperly. And these 3 things, I think, stuck out to me because, again, I'm a product of Coach Epperly and his great influence on my life. The first one that I wrote down was, and Evan really mentioned this, but it was always about people with Coach Epps. It was always about taking care of people first. And it wasn't about wins, it wasn't about championships, it wasn't about X's and O's, even though those things happened and he was passionate about those things, but it was always about people. And I think what I loved about Coach Epperly is he could see the potential and that every kid had value, and he wanted to bring that out of them and maximize that. And the other thing I remember about Coach Epperly and his love for people, and I still think I have some permanent welts on my shoulder from him coming up and giving me that how you doing slap. Nobody hit harder than Coach Epperly in a loving way. But it was always about people. Number 2, I think in life you have to have passion through purpose. I don't know if there's a more passionate person than Coach Epps. He was so passionate in the classroom, and again, that's why I wanted to follow him in education, into business. He was so passionate about the game of basketball, every facet of it. And he was so passionate about people, and again, about maximizing everybody that he worked with, maximizing their talents and their abilities. And I think it's because he saw purpose in it. He had purpose in all of those things, passion through purpose. That really affected my life. And then number 3, coaching is leadership. It's about influencing, it's about motivating, it's about inspiring, it's about leading, it's about teaching and training. And as Jimmy mentioned, that's what Coach Epps did. He taught you how to be a good person, how to be a good man. He modeled that. And so you guys, I guess when I thought about, when I got asked to speak and I thought about what to say, you know, I don't know how my life will be judged, my career will be judged, that's not up to me, who cares? But I know one thing, that I am who I am because of Coach Epperly and his great influence in my life. And Coach, I can't thank you enough. Again, I'm honored. Congratulations. I love you, Coach. Thanks so much for what you did for me and what was mentioned. Not only for me, of course, but hundreds and hundreds of athletes. And then what I think about is all those people and who they've influenced. And Coach, your reach goes to the thousands and thousands of people that you have affected. That's an awesome thing. Congratulations.
Well spoken, Grady. Well, folks, we've gotten to the part where we're going to have two gentlemen come up here. One's the Montana Coaches Association's Executive Director, and the other is somebody that's been around these parts for a while as well. He's been here for 45 years. He's been the head coach here at Flathead High for 42 years. Let's welcome Don Olson and Dan Hodge.
Good evening. First of all, I'd like to thank the Epperly family. Again, Grady said it very well, much better than I ever could, but what an honor to be a part of this well-deserved award for Coach Epperly. You know, when I was a young pup, I graduated from college here in Montana, graduated in the summer. There wasn't a lot of jobs open here in Montana. I went out to Washington for 5 years, but I had to get back to the big sky country. So I came back. And early on, I heard about this Montana Coaches Association. And Washington doesn't have much of a coaches association, and I didn't know much about it. But I came down to the clinic, and I was awestruck because there I was, a young pup. That was in 1979 or 1980, I believe. And, you know, there were giants of the profession that were there. And I got to rub shoulders with them if I got close enough to them, and I got to listen to what they had to say. I mean, there were names like Espelin, Merrifield, Halverson, Hodge, Wraith, LeBrun, and Epperly. And I always thought, and I always wondered, will I ever be like one of those guys? I'm still working on that. I'm not there yet, but I'm working on it. But what an honor to be here. Bill, this well-deserved award, again, Dave Doherty, the Executive Director of the National High School Athletic Coaches Association, sends his regards and his congratulations. And again, well done. He wished he could have been here, but he wasn't. So you'll have to settle for me. I just want to read a little bit of Coach Epperly's bio. Julie already said it, and everybody else has said it very well. Years ago, in the 1980s, there was a young lady who did some pretty good things, and she said something, there was a quote that she said, "I touch the future, I teach." Well, you know, from looking around here, Coach Epperly, you've not only touched the future, you've touched the past and the present and far beyond, because you've not only taught, but you've coached. And coaching is teaching, as you well know, and what a tremendous job you've done. Coach Epperly's been a Montana coach for 49 years. I don't know, like Coach Bennett said, I don't know if we're going to see that anymore from our young coaches. I hope so. I hope they fall in love with what they do, like you did, and teach for 49 years and coach for 49 years. But I'm afraid that's kind of a dying breed. I hope not. But for 49 years, his outstanding career began at Bozeman Rosary High School in 1959. And he continued as an assistant track coach at Flathead High up until this year. 46 of those years were spent in the high school ranks and 3 in the college ranks at Montana Tech. Coach Epperly hasn't just been coaching. He has experienced considerable success over the years. As an assistant he has been a part of an incredible 13 state championships. Most coaches in this state dream about things like that. You got to experience them. As a head mentor, Coach Epperly has won 2 state basketball champions and finished second twice. One thing I've always admired about Coach Epperly is that he always told it like it was. I mean, he didn't mince words. He just, this is how it is. And so I just briefly, tonight I was asking him about those 2 state championship teams, the 82 team and the 89 team. And I said, were they like undefeated all the way through? Oh no. I said, which team was the hardest to judge what was going to happen? He said, the 82 team. He said he wasn't sure. Partway through the season, he thought about changing their name from the Braves to the Possums. I said, Possums? He said, yeah, we played dead at home and got killed on the road. But obviously, Coach Epperly got him to play well when it counted. That was in the state tournament, and they won that. In 2000, Bill began coaching the boys and girls high jump at Flathead, where he had, these numbers are mind-boggling. He's had 45 divisional and 24 state placers. His fellow coaches tell us that he's a great communicator. We knew that. His athletes enjoyed working with him, and after 49 years, he still has the charisma that inspires others to be their best. He's a 2-time MCA Boys Basketball Coach of the Year, and it was inducted into the MCA Hall of Fame in 1990. Speaking of that, somebody came up today, before the ceremony began, and said, this is like a who's who of coaches. Would the coaches who have been Coach of the Year in Montana, would you please stand? If you were a Coach of the Year in Montana at any time, please stand up. Thank you. What a testimony to you, Bill. He was a 1993 nominee for the National High School Basketball Coach of the Year and was inducted into the Kalispell Legends Wall of Fame in 2005. When every year I have the privilege of looking across the state, looking through different programs, looking through different things, and along with my wife, Marion, I'd be remiss if I didn't. Those of you that don't understand this, I am the executive director of the Montana Coaches Association. I work for that lady right there. She runs the show. Most of the coaches in here understand that. I mean, if you call, that sounds familiar, Bill? Yeah. If you call the Coaches Association, you can talk to the man in charge or the lady who knows what's going on, and that would be her. So anyway, I have the privilege of going through and picking a coach to nominate for a National Hall of Fame award. And there's been a lot of good coaches. There's some great coaches in this great state that we live in. But Bill Epperly's name just jumped out at me this year, and there was no question after I started reading through some of his accomplishments where I needed to go. And it was obvious. Dan?
We'll get down to the real thing now. I have the privilege of handing the Hall of Fame award to Bill Epperly. Bill and I have worked together as teachers and coaches since 1979, 37 years. Bill was not only an outstanding coach, he was an outstanding business education instructor at Flathead High School. Even prior to his teaching, Bill was in the U.S. military, U.S. Army. During the last 17 years at Flathead High, while he worked with me, Bill has coached 45 divisional placers in track, 24 state placers, and along the way, his teams have won 18 divisional and 7 state championships. Bill has been an important part of our school's track program, and I appreciate the work you've done with us. Before I hand the award to Bill, We have several National High School Association Hall of Fame award winners in the audience. Would they please come up here and help me hand the award to Bill? This gentleman over here, Paul Jorgensen, cross-country coach, distance coach at Flathead High School. This is my high school hurdle coach, 1963 Butte, Charlie Merrifield. This is what I consider a beautiful award, if I can get it open here. I've had it home sitting in my, for the last 6 weeks. Bill, would you please come forward? I'll let you hand it to him. This is in recognition of National Coaches Hall of Fame. Bill is now an inductee, joining hundreds of coaches from around the country. Congratulations, Bill.
Well, Bill, congratulations. Well deserved. And thank you to all of our speakers tonight for speaking on Bill's behalf. And what a great tribute it is to him that we all are able to share this moment with him, because we all know how well he deserved it. One more round of applause, please. What an extraordinary man. If you all would join us and out there in the trophy room, we've got some cakes and we've got some punch, and we'd like you all to enjoy with us as we celebrate this award for Bill. Thanks, everyone.
Oh my God, it certainly has. Boy, has it ever tried.
Billy, can I see your flag? No. I'm gonna show it. I'm gonna show it. I'm gonna show it. I'm gonna show it off here.
Yes. I coach track and I coach basketball. And I have a jacket. It's okay. I know
Congratulations. You coming with me? Oh, yeah, probably. Doing well. So. He's right there.
I'm here. My grandfather.
Good. How about you?
I know. He got his hanky out, was cleaning it too.
I got fingerprints all over your Friday. I got it. That's a last meeting.
Nice. He's shining it.
Yeah. Are you from Butte?
How you doing, Chuck?
Good. How about you?
Oh, good. Good. That was a nice one.
Yes, it was. Very, very nice. Yeah. Yeah. In fact, if he was going to go back to the national team award, I'd have gone back to that.
That's right. That's right.
Betty? Betty?
I said hi.
Oh, you said hello.
I said hi.
Yeah. Hi. Hey, Daniel. How are you?
Good.
Good job.
No breakfasts this summer.
No.
Hi, how you doing? How's everybody doing?
Oh, everybody's doing.
The Lownies are good?
The Lownies are good.
It's always for
I haven't seen either of them for I don't know how long.
I didn't know that.
They doing good?